Ranking Member Pingree and the members of this subcommittee to pass a bill. Before we get underway, I'd like to yield to my friend Ranking Member Pingree for any opening statements that she may have.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I just want to thank you for holding this hearing and thank my colleagues for being here today to talk about their priorities in the 2024 process. So thanks so much for being with us.
Talofa. Thank you, Chairman Simpson and Ranking Member Pingree, for the opportunity today to testify on the needs of American Samoa for their budget under the Interior Department and their Office of Insular Affairs. Tuna is to American Samoa what the potato is to Idaho and the lobster is to Maine. Without them, our economies and identities would be drastically reduced. Now, what would happen if the president declared that potato growing could be outlawed or that lobster couldn't be caught in an area bigger than Alaska and Colorado combined? Because that's what the president bragged about yesterday, declaring that over 777,000 acres of tuna fishing grounds be off limits to the U.S. fishing industry, and that is canned at the American Samoa cannery. In our case, 80% of our exports and port traffic revolve around the Star-Kissed tuna operations that employ nearly 4,000 people in our territory, second only to the local government as an employer. Expanding the Pacific Remote Marine Island National Monument, or we call it the PRIMNIM, without allowing for fishing management under the Magnuson-Stevens Act will devastate our economy. So yesterday, I sent a letter to Commerce Secretary Raimondo and Interior Secretary Holland, who's a dear friend, strongly opposing this expansion, and I have a copy here for the committee's record. So please support us by ensuring the American Samoan Economic Development Credit, also known as the Section 30A tax credit provision, is extended to maintain those jobs. Please let your Ways and Means colleagues, Chairman Smith and Ranking Member Neal, know how important its renewal is to us. To that end, I thank the subcommittee for its recent support for funds for the architectural planning and design of a hospital expansion to help improve and alleviate the poorly conditioned facilities we are struggling with. This is 60-year-old infrastructure that's endured over 300 inches of tropical annual rainfall that has left us in a state of disrepair, well documented by the Army Corps of Engineers since 2018. As a result of my territorial colleagues' efforts, we were able to secure additional support from the Treasury Department to use American Rescue Plan funds to further improving our Seoul Hospital's dire situation. The American Samoan government has signed a design contract and announced the location of a new medical facility in the village of Tafuna, located in the Western District. Attached to my written testimony is information from ASG's American Rescue Plan Act Oversight Office Executive Director Keith Gaybauer, outlining the local and federal funds that have been allocated for this project. While the planning and project is well underway, the primary obstacle to construction that remains is our geographic and economic isolation. Inflation disproportionately affects the Pacific region as we deal with the rising cost of imported diesel. As such, I am requesting a modest increase of $1 million to the American Samoa Government Operations account to partially offset inflation and allow ASG to move forward with their hospital improvement plans uninterrupted. At the Pacific Islands Country Summit in September 2022, the U.S. announced the U.S. Pacific Partnership Strategy and $810 million in additional extended or expanded programs for the region, subject to congressional approval. The federal government recognizes that investment in the Pacific is necessary to push back against adversarial forces in the region, and I thank this committee for recognizing that need for support extends to the territories. I want to thank you again, Mr. Chairman and Ranking Member, for your time and consideration of my request. I yield back.
Thank you. I appreciate you being here today, and I'm going to ask Congresswoman Garcia to give her statement, and then we'll ask questions of both of you, if that's okay.
Great. Got a long neck. I'm like the eagle. We got touched it. There it goes. We'll start again. I too want to thank you, Mr. Chair and Ranking Member and the members for doing this Member Day hearing. It's always so important to hear directly from members about the projects that they have in their districts that are a priority. I'm proud to represent Texas's 29th Congressional District, which includes the city of Houston, South Houston, Pasadena, Jacinto Park, and Galena Park. My district is 77% Latino. First, I would like to discuss two of my community projects under the EPA STAG Drinking Water State Recovery Fund account for cleaner water that I strongly urge the committee to consider. The first is in the city of San Jacinto City, and that's one of the small cities around Houston. I have a request for $3.2 million, which will provide safe drinking water and fire protection to a diverse mix of residences and small businesses. These pipes will be replaced with larger polypropylene pipe, which will eliminate the threat of lead poisoning. It will also allow the water system to operate at a pressure that can ensure the delivery of safe water to each user and supply adequate pressure and fire flows. Again, that request is $3.2 million. The second one is for a project in the city of Galena Park, another of the small cities around Houston. This $6 million project request will improve the city's drinking water system by installing and replacing distribution pipes to prevent contamination. The new pipes will also improve water pressure and quality. And again, this one is for $6 million, another water project. The third request that I have for the committees to consider is general appropriations for funding clean air programs. Mr. Chairman, most of the entire petrochemical complex is located in my district. Likewise, almost 80% of the Houston ship channel. So we get all the ships, we get all the manufacturing, we get all the plants. Those are in my district. Again, my district is a working class Latino district. Residents in and around the area regularly struggle with healthy air quality due to high amounts of ozone, pollution, and smog. Unfortunately, the Houston region frequently ranks among the highest in the country for air quality issues. In fact, right now we are ranked number 8 in the country for the most ozone in our city, and that is by stats from the American Lung Association. Air monitors have helped us pinpoint problematic areas and specific pollutants and their effects on people's health. For example, we know that poor air quality can aggravate pre-existing health conditions like asthma and allergies, and technology can help us caution those residents who are near a particularly high ozone area before they go outside. Someone who has allergies all the time, I can attest to that, because I watch those numbers before even I leave my house, and I'm not near the ship channel. My community is trying to monitor air quality more closely and more equitably through local community, state, federal, and private initiatives. We are trying to get ahead of any potential hotspots. Increasing the number of air monitors and pollution abatement programs through adequate federal funding is one more step in that direction. Clean air is a public health issue. We need to do more to help our communities. So specifically, I'm asking the committee to robustly fund the EPA state and tribal assistance grants programs. This grants programs offers funding for a variety of clean water and clean air initiatives. My letter asks for strong funding for this program, specifically those focused on air monitoring and pollutant abatement programs. This funding would greatly help communities like mine and those around the country that have long been underserved. Everyone deserves the God-given right to breathe clean air, period. I'm proud to see that this committee prioritized strong funding for this program last year, and I sincerely hope that the committee can once again prioritize funding for this critical program. Thank you again for your consideration to these 3 requests. I'm happy to answer any questions that you might have. I yield back.
Thank you, and thank you for being here. First, let me ask you, Congresswoman, is America Samoa, is 300 inches of rain unusual? Or is that, I have no idea how much rain you usually get.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. No, it's pretty average.
Is that pretty average? Why, do you have any idea why the administration declared this huge area unavailable for tuna fishing? What was their reasoning?
Perhaps it was environmental concerns. But the bottom line is that they didn't even bother to consult with us, consult with our governor, and consult with the stakeholders out there. And these are U.S. waters. And what it's doing, it's devastating our economy because we are a one-industry economy, and that is canned tuna. We are the home of Charlie the Tuna. So when you go to your supermarket, you buy a can of Star-Kissed tuna, most likely it was canned in American Samoa.
See, I had no idea that was a huge industry there. And I eat a lot of tuna from the can.
So do I.
Interesting.
Especially during Lent.
Yeah. Have you, Congresswoman Garcia, have you put in requests for those specific projects in the community
Project funding,
what do we
yes.
call them? Yeah.
They're community-based project funding, yes, sir.
Okay.
I just wanted to make you aware of them.
Okay.
The one that would come under more of your jurisdiction is continuing to fund the air monitoring and
quality,
air
yeah.
quality.
Okay.
And they really do help. I know I was, well, I've had prior lives, and my prior life was as a state-centered, but before that one, I was county commissioner, and it was always a challenge to try to get as many monitors as we could so that we would know where the trouble spots were, so that we'd know to alert people or to work on abatement issues. And I must say that any time that we brought that to the attention of industry there, we worked together to try to resolve the issues and figure out where to put them and how to set them up.
Okay. Thank you. Congresswoman Pingree?
Yep. Well, thank you again both for coming, and thank you. We never know enough about the territories. We always learn from hearing about it. And I had recently just heard about the President's declaration. Didn't realize that that was such an important part of your economy. Had no idea that every can of tuna that I purchase comes from there. Are the fishermen, the tuna fishermen who fish in that area, exclusively from American Samoa? Are there other countries who fish there, or is that I'm not that familiar with it?
They're American Samoans, and they're from the U.S.
So it's primarily, and it all comes back and it gets processed where you live. Yeah. Well, thank you for filling us in about that, and also the challenges. I'm glad to hear we are moving forward with funding that hospital, but it sounds like you might need a little bit more to get it done.
Thank you.
Yeah, and thank you, Representative Garcia. Always interesting to hear about your district and those programs at the EPA and the STAG grants, critically important to all of our states. So good to hear you're submitting those. Thanks.
We thank you both for being here today and informing us of your requests, and keep in touch with us as we try to put a bill together, which is going to be, who knows when and what when we ever get a budget resolution done. So look forward to working with you to address your concerns. I would say that you did mention Idaho, you did mention potatoes because of Idaho and lobsters because of Maine, but you could have mentioned potatoes because of Maine too. So that was a double whammy there, you got them. Yeah. Thank you both for being here.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you for sharing your visitor.
That was a very...
For the members' information, both Representative Schreier and Representative Griffith have other things came up, so they're not going to be able to make it. So, committee, thanks for our colleagues for taking time to join us today and discuss the issues that are important to your districts, and this subcommittee stands adjourned. Thank you. So,
Did you say the Eagles coming to your office?
office tomorrow morning at 9:30.
I have my grandson with me, and I neglected to bring him to the committee.
Bring him down to 9:30 to the office.
Yeah, he'd love to
And
get